and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Welcome back from a crazy busy weekend in the sports world. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on game night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. Yeah, guys, it was a crazy, wild, busy sports weekend. And so we're going to get it all at this hour. Sixers win both games this weekend. So myself and Austin Krell, we were wrong in that prediction. On top of that, you have, the women's ending to their tournament. The men have the ending of their NCAA tournament tonight. You have the Phillies roller coaster ride continues. They win 2 games, then they lose yesterday in a game that they probably should have and could have won, right? And then you got the Eagles crashing the party as they always do. Lane Johnson spends Saturday night helping Jason Kelsey win a match for Rey Mysterio. And then this afternoon, Lane Johnson spoke on the Pat McAfee show. So we get to all that and more this hour on 97.3 ESPN. As always, the text board is open at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And another opportunity for you to qualify for the Eagles draft party coming up in about 50 minutes from now is next time the sounder will go off for you. If you are callers number 6 and 7, you qualify for the Eagles draft party giveaway contest. But first of all, let's get to the busy weekend because I got to start with recapping the weekend for the Sixers and the Phillies. I think the Sixers deserve a ton of credit for this weekend. Not because you necessarily beat the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I don't mean literal credit in terms of, hey, good job at winning. It's your job to win. I get that, okay? But hear me out for a moment, folks. A lot of people who are Sixer fans loved Pat Beverly, loved the guy. They revered Pat Bev like he was the greatest thing since sliced bread when he was here. And in the weeks after the Sixers traded him away, he became the biggest malcontent about the organization of anyone, to the point where he went out of his way and said that in Philadelphia, they care about collecting stats, and in Milwaukee, they care about winning games. And it was such a passive-aggressive, childish, petulant statement by Beverly. Well, the Sixers have proven Pat Beverly wrong on numerous levels. And yesterday's game is a perfect example of that. Statistically, I told you guys on game night on Friday night, and I told you guys again when I was sitting in with Billy Schweim on Saturday this weekend on 97.3 ESPN. In NBA history, statistically, you go by the numbers, the second game of a back-to-back on the road, teams lose that game the majority of the time. It is a stat that it goes back decades. We can track these numbers for decades. It's just a fact of life. Guys get tired. Guys get unfocused. It's hard to fly from one city to another and try to win a game. So what happens after the Sixers win on Saturday night? They fly to San Antonio to play the Spurs. And then what happens? No Embiid, no Kyle Lowry. So you're already shorthanded against a Spurs team that is scrappy, that is built around a star player in Victor Wembanyama, who's trying to potentially win the Defensive Player of the Year this year. And so now you have a situation where You're going in shorthanded on a back-to-back. You're not at full power. Or should I say full strength? Full power. It's like an ode to, like, Iron Man or something. He's running out of juice with an arc reactor, but I digress. They're not at full strength. And you found a way to get the game to overtime. They could have just said, you know what? It's been a hard-fought game. We'll just mail it in. No, they drew up a play. They executed the play. Maxey got the basket. You go to overtime, and all of a sudden, the trajectory of the entire game changes. And you're in overtime, and you look at the way guys like Ricky Council and Kelly Oubre and Nicholas Batum all had their moments. KJ Martin, these guys stepped up big time for this team in the second half and in overtime. There was no quit in this team. There was no, we're trying to get our stats. There was no, oh, well, we got this far. They went in to that overtime trying to win. And then they had to go to a second overtime. And they found a way to pull it out. That Nick Batum 3 in the corner was such a massive play, not just for that game last night, but for the season. Because the Sixers showed the entire NBA that even when they are shorthanded, they are not going to go quietly into the night. They are not going down without a fight. They are not a bunch of quitters. They are not a bench of front runners. They are trying to win every game put in front of them. Maxey said after the game last night, I didn't want us to lose. I was going to do whatever it took for us to win. That was a huge game because you watch the game on Saturday night. Embiid doesn't even play in the third quarter. They cruise controlled to the end of that game because they played the mash unit version of the Grizzlies with no John Morant, no Jaren Jackson Jr., no Desmond Bane, no Marcus Smart. They barely had anybody out there of consequence. We saw more of Scottie Pippen and his son, Scottie Pippen Jr., than we saw of anybody on the Grizzlies. It was ridiculous. And then Sunday, what happens? They could have said, you know what? We won the first game. It's all good. But they didn't do that. This Sixers team is trying to get out of that play-in tournament at all costs. And now you could make an argument for them to finish the year undefeated since Embiid returned. Because you look at the remaining schedule for the Sixers. There's no loss. There's no real obvious loss left on this rundown. There's only one game that should be competitive down the stretch here, and that's the Orlando game. And that's in part because Orlando has risen to the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs have lost 3 straight, and 7 of their last 10 games have the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks are struggling to stay in the middle of the pack right now. I mean, OG Anunoby had to have a monster game this weekend in order for them to do anything. Jalen Brunson, I think, is supposed to come back this week for the Knicks. So I'm assuming they should be able to stay in the middle of the pack. But Orlando is having a great season. They deserve a lot of credit for rebuilding that team and turning it around. That's really the only team at the final 3 that is going to be a legitimate challenge for the 76ers. And even in that situation, these are all home games. We all know the 76ers are a very good home team historically. In Orlando, well, Orlando's not a good road team. Orlando has a 28-12 record at home and an 18-20 record on the road. So again, you should win the game, but it won't be easy, okay? Or like I said, Orlando's having a really, really good year. They are a team that has really gone out there and proven themselves as a quality up-and-coming young team. with guys like Paolo Banchero, Wagner's having a really good year. Jalen Suggs is really starting to elevate his game. So they're a good team. If the Sixers go out and win the final 3 games, that means they will end the year with 47 wins. And you compare their final stretch of games compared to the Pacers and the Cavs, this is where it gets interesting. We were talking about it with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash earlier today on 97.3 ESPN. You look at what these teams' final stretch run. Sixers have 3 games left. Cavs have 3 games left. Pacers have 3 games left. And guess what? The Pacers and the Cavs play each other this Friday. So one of them is going to neutralize out the other. One of them is going to get knocked down a peg further than they want to be because they got to play the other. And with how much the Cavs have been struggling and how hard the Pacers have been fighting to creep up the standings a little more, there is a scenario where Indiana does finish the year ahead of the Cavs. And if the Cavs struggle down the stretch here, now they play Memphis like you did, the Cavs coming up. So it's fair to assume that they will get at least one more win, will the Cavs. But that's still 47 wins on the year. If the Sixers finish out the season undefeated, they will have a better conference record than the Cavs, which will be one of the tiebreakers that gets brought into play here. There is a scenario where the Sixers still get the 6th seed. And whether it is Orlando or the Knicks or the Cavs or the Pacers, whoever it may be in that 3 spot, that is a much easier road to take. Because guess what happens? You get that week off to get all the guys healthy and ready to go. And you avoid Boston for the first 2 rounds. The Sixers are positioning themselves to not just make themselves a threat in the postseason, but to make a run. And it is in part thanks to guys like Nicholas Batum and Kelly Oubre and Ricky Council and KJ Martin. And I think the question has to be asked, as we are all asking now. Mike Gill asked the question today. We asked the question over the weekend. I'll ask it again here on 97.3 ESPN. Do you just bench Tobias Harris whenever he comes back? Because as of right now, your best lineup on the floor, when everyone is healthy, is Maxey, Lowry, Oubre, Batum, and Embiid. I had said for a long time that I liked the idea of Oubre coming off the bench because of his punch of offense. But now, I think Oubre might be too vital to this team with the starting group. He is turning into a legitimate number 3 scorer. He has evolved and grown himself into being a bona fide number 3. And if that's who he is for this team, Tobias, you give me the 6th man. Come off the bench. Maybe that'll get your head out of the sand. I mean, the guy's in a contract year, and he's playing like his career is over at times. All right, we will get to the Phillies conversation as well as my thoughts on what is going on with the Flyers, WrestleMania this weekend, what Lane Johnson had to say about the Eagles offseason, all that and more, plus your texts at 609-403-0973. Jeff from Ocean City, I see your text. We'll get to you and more coming up on the other side on the Power Hour, known as Game Night, with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers Pistons tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play.
Kelly Oubre seals it, and a jam! Oubre stuffs it. The Sixers steal it, and Kelly Oubre has come alive.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Let's clear out winter and clean up the lawn with Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. Right now, get the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for just $89 and make your lawn work easier with a powerful 90 miles an hour of clearing power. Plus, you could buy it online and pick it up in store, getting you outside sooner. Get your yard spring ready with the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower, now just $89 during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. See store at homedepot.com/delivery for details.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
By popular demand, it's Matt Black Kias 2 for $222 all month long until they're gone. Get 2 new Kias for $222, but only while supplies last. Get a brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for just $111 per month lease with 0 security deposits and just $39.95 due at signing. With a price like that, why not get 2 for $222? That's a brand new Kia Forte for $111 per month, or drive home 2 for $222. Even get 0% APR for 48 months, or $7,500 cash back on any new 2024 Kia EV9. Plus, if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit, APR, or cash back on 2024 EV9. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. 24 months, $111 per month, 10,000 miles per year. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 5/4/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Carver Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic. John Kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies, first aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is great because you're rarely rewarded for just being you. Ever get rewarded for being left-handed? No. You get to use weird scissors. Your reward for being a Capricorn? Cold birthdays that conflict with the holidays. And your reward for quickly responding to every work email? More emails. But with Snapshot, even left-handed Capricorns with proper email etiquette could get rewarded for good driving. So download the Progressive app today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll get back to the text board in just a moment at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Jeff Motion say I'll get to your message first up on tap in a moment, but I did want to hit on the Phillies really quick from the weekend because I made a comment on Twitter and it got some kickback, right? Some negative vibe, right? From my comment on Twitter this weekend. And I got to tell you guys, I don't understand people sometimes, and this is why I so much rather talk to human beings than deal with people on social media. So I made the comment this weekend, and I stand by it because I tweeted back to the person about it. How I thought that the game on Friday was so bizarre for me because the Phillies look like a team that had the worst approach in all of baseball one night. And then they turned around and sat there and had a much better approach another night. And the comment was very simple. And I'll just read it to you. I said, it was wild how the Phillies can go from being a dysfunctional baseball team on Wednesday to a highly competent team on Friday. Now, and basically my premise is that I was feeding off of what the former ball players, guys like Ricky Vitalico and Ben Davis and Ruben Amaro Jr. was saying, because it's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for me to see the same exact perspective that the other players are saying on the broadcast, which is, it always surprises me when Major League Baseball players can go to the ballpark on a Wednesday and look completely out of sorts and incompetent, and then come back 2 days later and look like a completely different ball club. You could argue that the Phillies team that played baseball on Wednesday last week and then yesterday afternoon was almost a different team and different players than what you saw on Friday and Saturday. And while I understand that it's a long baseball season, I understand it's part of the game of baseball, all that stuff, I just get back to the idea that it's just so amazing and wild to me that this can happen, that guys can literally have a completely different approach. Again, taking Vitalico and Amaro Jr. and Ben Davis's words and applying to this conversation. They saw the same thing I did. The Phillies players' approach on Wednesday's game and in yesterday's game was poor. And it's not just Nick Castellanos. It's Trey Turner. Some of these at-bats that these guys are having, they're just hard to watch. They're utterly ugly. I go back and rewatch the Phillies game yesterday because I didn't get to watch the whole game live. So I went back and rewatched some of the game last night. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how are these guys professional baseball players? And they have this amazing at-bat. And again, take out who the opponent is, okay? As I told the people on Twitter, stop focusing on who the opponent is. Focus on you. One of the axioms in sports is you are always taught as an athlete at whatever level you are, whether you are professional. I've heard pro athletes talk about this. I've heard college coaches talk about this. And I remember my coaches when I played junior high and high school sports talk about this. Stop worrying about the other guy. Focus on you. If you go out and do your job and execute the way you're supposed to, the majority of the time you're going to be successful. Stop worrying about the other person. Because you know what happens when we worry about the other person? You get knocked out in a fight, for example. I don't know how many times I have seen fighters go in the fights and they try to change what they do depending on the other person, and they get caught and they get beat. So the idea is about when you have the right approach in baseball, what you're doing is you're telling Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, whoever it may be, you're telling those guys, don't worry about everyone else. Just worry about you. Worry about what you are going to do at the plate, how you are going to approach this at bat, this pitcher, this scenario. Don't worry about who the other team is on the other side of the field. And so that is for me why it's so perplexing at times. It is so obvious to me that Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos are either getting horrible advice or they are so deep into their own head that they can't get out of their own way. Trey Turner is if I remember correctly, I believe it was a 290, 300 career hitter. Let me look it up. And he's got 12 strikeouts on the year. How does that even happen? How do you go from being, okay, what is it? He's a 295 hitter. I split the difference. My bad. I said he's 300 or 290. It's 295. But you hear what I'm saying? The guy's got 12 strikeouts this year. How does that happen? And Nick Castellanos, the only thing that is saving him statistically is that he's got 6 walks on the year. The dude is doing absolutely nothing otherwise. You take away the 6 walks that he has, he's got 30 miserable at-bats this year. He's lucky to have 4 hits. And Trey Turner, I mean, he's turning into a Jekyll and Hyde. He's turning into this guy that either has a really good at-bat and gets a base hit and does something good. Because remember, you might not know this, but Trey Turner, he's a pretty good base stealer. You may not remember that because you don't see him on base enough. He leads the team in stolen bases this year. He has a 282 on base percentage with 3 steals this year. It's nuts. And it's bad enough that Rojas is having a rough start to the year. And now you got these 2 guys who are making a combined $400 million contracts, and they can't even have the same approach from game to game. And that is what I mean by this is so wild to me, because, you know, there's many people out there who are listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM, or if you're listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is powered by First Bank of Seattle, wherever you're listening, we appreciate you tuning in to 97.3 ESPN. We'll give you another opportunity to qualify for the Eagles draft party contest coming up in about 25 minutes from now. But all of you listening to me out there know that you have jobs that if you don't show up and do your job, things get really dicey really quick. You all have jobs where if you show up and your head is not in the game, something bad can happen. Now, maybe not life-threatening for all of you, but, you know, some of you out there are police officers and firefighters. Some of you are nurses and doctors. And if you all showed up, and not just you people, okay, it's the person who's the IT support at a job. It's the person who is a teacher at a school. It is the person who is whatever your job is. What if you're a person who responds to 911 calls and gets people to the hospital, right? Whatever your job is, there's so many of you who have responsibilities on your shoulders that if you have a mentally day off, a bad day at the office, my head wasn't in the game today, boss, you could either get in trouble at your job or something really bad happen. And so I empathize with many of you out there when you look at a Castellanos or a Turner and don't understand how on earth these guys can't just go out there and do their job. We're not asking Nick Castellanos or Trey Turner to be batting 350 every year. We're just saying that if Trey Turner's career batting average is 295, can you not strike out 12 out of 36 at bats? For those who don't know, 12 out of 36 is 1/3 of the time. Can Trey Turner not strike out 1/3 of his at bats? Is that difficult to ask? And Nick Castellanos, you either need, and I know I said this a bit facetiously on Saturday with Billy Schwein in the locker room. I don't need to know if Castellanos needs a shrink. I don't know if he needs Jesus. I don't know what Nick Castellanos needs, but he needs something because whatever he's doing is not working. Whatever he thinks he's doing is not good enough. This man was an all-star last year, and he was an all-star 2 years before that. This man has been an all-star 2 of the last 4 years, and in those seasons, each of them, he had 100 RBIs, and in each of those years, he had at least 29 home runs in each of those years. But yet the 2 years that he's not an all-star, he's a miserable player to watch. His first year in Philadelphia, it was like nails on a chalkboard. And this year, he looks lethargic. He looks disinterested. He looks incapable of being a competent baseball player. And so for the average fan, the reason why I think it's wild and why the average fan is so angry with like Castellanos, because they know that if they don't do their job, if they have a bad day at the office, there are consequences that are going to be happening that they could get in trouble for or maybe lose their job for. But these guys who make millions of dollars can't get their head out of the sand. So yeah, I do think it's ridiculous, and I do applaud the Phillies for when they do go out there and do their job and when they play well on Friday and Saturday. And I'm going to criticize them when they have a bad approach at the plate on Friday and Sunday, because for me, I'm not asking you to go out there and bat 350. I'm just asking you to have a good approach at the plate. There's an old saying that we used to say in the health and fitness world when I was a personal trainer. We used to tell a lot of our clients, do your best and forget the rest. It's not about having your best day at the gym. It's not about maxing out your numbers. It's not about being, an Adonis or looking your best every day. It's about whatever state you are in, show up and give me your best effort. When I played sports when I was younger, the coaches knew I was not the best player. I never played sports because I was the best player. I have never been the best player on any team in my life except for one, and that team was really bad, okay? The reason why I was capable of playing sports is because I was an effort guy. I went out there and gave it my best effort. There's never been a coach in my entire youth sports, high school sports life, or the 1 year I played community college baseball, where they said, man, Josh has got to be on the team because he's got gifts. No, I made the team because I was an all effort all the time guy. And so for me, I understand that you don't have to be gifted to play a sport. You just got to go out there and give an honest day's effort. And I think for a lot of us, we look at Castellanos and we look at Trey Turner and we say, can you guys just give us an honest day's effort? And that to me is what is wild about watching the Phillies right now. All right, to the text board, 609-403-0973. Before I get to Chris in Millville and Tom in the Villas, I promised I would get to Jeff in Ocean City first. Jeff says, Josh, what percentage chance you get the Flyers to make the playoffs so the players quit on the season? Jeff in Ocean City, I don't think the players will quit on the season at all. I think that there is an obvious level of fatigue with this team. I don't understand why. I don't understand if it's more mental than physical. I don't think they've quit. Because if they quit, I think Tortorella would be calling them all out and ripping them a new one. The fact that Tortorella is not ripping everybody every game and trashing his own players, because he has been known to do that, tells me they haven't quit. The Flyers have two problems. One problem was very well articulated by Mike Gill, and the other one was very well articulated by Brian Boucher. The first problem with the Flyers is, like Mike Gill said, and he said this very well last week. The Flyers are a team that grinded their way to this point. And so they've run out of steam and they don't know how to grind any harder. And they've run out of basically energy to grind with. And it's a good point because the only points the Flyers have had during these last couple weeks are the 2 overtime losses, the one to the Rangers and one to the Islanders. If it wasn't for those 2 overtime games, they would have been pointless. They would have had 0 points in the standings since March 23rd. So how does a team go from being this team that grinds out victories and finds ways to win to being the team that can't find their way anymore? Well, it's 2 things. One, like Brian Boucher said, Bouch talked about, guys taking responsibility for what is going on. At some point, it doesn't matter if the coach is telling you what you got to do. You got to go out there and do it. That Buffalo game was like being kicked in the teeth because you brought in Fedotov to be a better backup goaltender than Sandstrom. And 2 of those 4 goals were absolutely his own fault. 2 of those 4 goals, if you are a veteran goaltender, you should stop at least one of those 2. And the other one was a horrible angle he took. But the other 2 goals were because the Flyers didn't stop the advance of the puck. They didn't stop the transition game. I mean, the one goal, Noah Cates just turned the exact wrong way. It was utterly ridiculous. And then the Columbus game, like Mike Gills mentioned on the Sports Bash, it just looked like they had no gas left in the tank. In that game, it looked like they had no energy. They were skating in mud. So this goes back to the Phillies thing. How do people whose job is to play sports get their head out of the sand and realize that they got a job to do and show up and do their job? Well, we're going to find out the Flyers can do it because the next 2 games are also on the road. They're still in the middle of a road trip. They're away from the comforts of home. They got to go to Canada after losing in Buffalo and in Columbus. They already lost to Montreal a couple weeks ago. How does this team recalibrate and try to win a game against one of the not good teams in the league? Montreal is not a good hockey team. They have struggled most of the year due to injuries, and they had a horrible start to the season. If you could find a way to win a game in Montreal, that should be your only focus right now. So the percentage, back to Jeff in Ocean City's point, of making the postseason, I don't think the players have quit. I just think that there's something is wrong in terms of translating what they know they need to do into making it happen. What is the chance I give the Flyers to make the postseason? 50-50. Because as of right now, you got 4 games left. You got to win at least 2 of those 4 games. Even if you don't win the final game of the year against the Caps are the least of your problems right now. Because right now, you look at the NHL standings and you realize that the team that jumped ahead of you wasn't the Caps. It was the Red Wings and the Islanders. The Islanders were dead in the water a couple weeks ago, and the Red Wings had 2 embarrassing losses recently, but both of those teams found a way to rebound, get their own heads out of the sand, and now have positioned themselves ahead of both you and the Caps. So you can't worry about the Capitals' last game of the year. You got to deal with Montreal. You got to deal with the Rangers. You got to deal with the Devils. Do your job. Get business done, because guess what? It's a 50-50 proposition. The Islanders were so bad earlier this year, they fired their head coach. And even after firing the head coach, they couldn't get out of their own way because they had a horrible losing streak in March. Now, all of a sudden, they've won 4 straight games, one of them against you. And if you are the Flyers, you're hoping the Rangers beat the Islanders in their next 2 or 3 games. And you're hoping the final game of the year against Pittsburgh doesn't come down to the wire. And with Detroit is a team that is overachieving right now. A team that also had a horrible losing streak earlier this year, who has crawled their way from the depths of hell into the potential playoff spot. And the Caps are facing Detroit at the same time tomorrow that you're playing Montreal. So that's why the 50-50, because all these teams are still playing each other. And again, it gets back to the whole thing. If the Flyers do their job, they have a chance. Tom from the Village chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, the more I see Ricky Council play, the more I like him. If he keeps working and improving, I think he could be a great asset for the Sixers in the near future. Tom from the Village is a great point because Ricky Council has proven himself in multiple games now that he may be a guy you might be able to rely on and trust in a big postseason game. Not to score necessarily, but to just be a part of what you're doing. I have more faith in Ricky Council right now than I do Tobias Harris. I really do. I think Council proved last night and in other games this year that between his ability to be a versatile player, to be able to play with multiple lineups and in multiple lineup arrangements, that he has also proven that he can make shots. He makes the right pass. He's an effort guy. I don't want him out there for 24 minutes a night, but if he can give me a good 15, a good 14 minutes or whatever the number is, I feel pretty good about that. Look, if you're telling me that I'm going to get at least 12 good minutes a night out of Ricky Council, that's 3 minutes a quarter. That means 3 minutes that I'm not sitting here wondering if I'm going to get production out of Tobias Harris or Buddy Hield. Later, Ricky Council will give me that. Great point from Tom in the Villas. Chris from Millville chimes in at 609-403-0973 on the text board. Chris in Millville says, Castellanos always been 1 year good, 1 year awful. He'll have another good one next year and hope someone will be dumb enough to give him $100 million. Chris from Millville, I don't know if I'm willing to wait, though. I made the comment this weekend, a couple people, and I'll say it again here. I think the answer to Castellanos is to call the Colorado Rockies before the deadline. Tell the Rockies you will pay a chunk of his salary. Trade him to Colorado. Let Colorado get something out of him because he'll be in that Rocky Mountain air. Maybe he'll pop an extra few home runs, bump his batting average up, and then the Rockies can trade him either this offseason or next year with his manipulated value. And you tell the Rockies, look, we'll pay the salary for the rest of this year. And you'll give them some sort of asset to, sweeten the deal, right? Maybe some single double-A pitcher that you don't have a ton of faith in the future. And you go and get some player in return from the Rockies, whether it's a young player, whether it's a veteran player, they don't want anymore, whatever. But you find a way to basically find a team like the Rockies who can put him on their lineup, manipulate his value because it's a hitter-friendly ballpark, inflate his stats, and then that team can find a way to unload him for a value. That might be your only option at this point. Because Kristen Millville, to me, is not good enough to say good year, bad year, good year, bad year. It's a bad year for Castellanos. It's not good enough for me. Frankly, I think it's pathetic. As I said before, if this dude is so mentally twisted that that's who he is, he's got to find something different to do. He's got to do something different. I don't care what it is. I don't care. He's got to do something because this is absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable. Check back at the export one more time. Coming up, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
The 2024 NCAA men's basketball tournament has been a great ride with upsets, crazy finishes, and dominant performances. And now it's down to just one more game for the title. Tune in Monday night to hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA men's championship game right here.
Listen to the NCAA Tournament Championship Game on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. As you know, we talk a lot about player performance on this show, but you know what else performs really well? The 2024 Acura Integra. And now through April 30th, my friend Rocco at Key Acura of Atlantic City can get you into one for $379 a month with just $29.95 down. That includes tax tags, dock fees, everything. Go see Rocco at Key Acura, Chilton Road, EHT, the small but friendly dealer with convenient Saturday service hours. Visit KeyAcuraofAtlanticCity.com. See dealer for details.
Attention landowners. Got big plans for your land? Tackle all your spring projects with a powerful John Deere machine. And now with 0% APR for 72 months on select compact tractors, riding lawnmowers, and Gator utility vehicles, plus up to $2,000 off select compact tractors. It's never been easier to get in the seat. Offer available April 1st through 30th. Visit johndeere.com to find your local dealer. For complete finance details, please call toll-free 1-800-226-8903.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in-wash scent beads.
Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, new payments, new interest. Your certified GAF elite contractors. Champion-exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first.
Easy Cater. 100,000 restaurants, one platform. Need food for a meeting or a company event? Easy Cater has everything you need to make food for work, work. With easy online ordering and reordering. Save your favorite orders, make edits as needed, and click. We even help you with expenses by keeping your receipts all in one place, which means all you need to do is sit back and enjoy the food. From ordering to reporting, Easy Cater has everything to make food for work, work. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was chicken.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it. That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High Impact Protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code MUSCLE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text MUSCLE to 511-511. Text MUSCLE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Text fees may apply.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Go for the pulse and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Coming up in a few minutes, your next opportunity to qualify for the Eagles draft party. If you're a qualifier, you must be present at Ocean Casino Resort at Top Golf. For Mike Gill and Sports Patch, we're broadcasting live on the day of the NFL draft, April 25th. Before we get there, we'll wrap up this hour of Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get to the sounder in a couple minutes from now. If you want to squeeze in your final text, do it now at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. You know, it was a wild weekend in sports, and we touched on a lot of the teams, but I did want to touch on WrestleMania really quick, because not to pat myself on the back, but I did get most of those picks right. I was definitely wrong about the Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, but I told you guys that Rock and Reigns would win on Saturday. Cody Rhodes would win on Sunday. I told you that Bayley would take out Io Sky, and I told you guys about how it's about following the storyline. It's about understanding that they're building towards something. You know, there's no way that Rey Mysterio is going to lose to his son, Dominic. I mean, I don't care what your theory was, okay? And it's not because one person is smarter than the others, because understanding what makes a good story. We all watch movies and TV shows. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just understand that it's a much better story. It's a much better narrative if you are going to build up to Cody Rhodes. His dad never won the WWE Heavyweight Championship, and now Cody can win it. You have this big moment at WrestleMania, you know, complete the story. It's all about narrative. And now you built Roman Reigns up to be this unstoppable force, right? And now you're letting him lose to the only guy it would have made sense to. And it's the same thing with Bayley. Bayley is a former champion. She went through her, story arc, and now she's redeemed herself, So what a incredible spectacle. I thought that, to me, my favorite moment of the entire weekend, it was Undertaker showing up. And by the way, I understand he didn't show up in the normal paint and hat, but he kind of reminded me of the American Badass era when he was riding the motorcycle. I felt like that Undertaker showed up last night. That was really cool. Darn Sounders interrupting my analysis of WrestleMania over here. That sounder means caller number 6 and 7. You are in for the Eagles draft party contest. Call us 609-573-3776, 609-573-3776. You call and you are in for the Eagles draft party. We get a chance to win an Eagles versus Baltimore Ravens trip. Let's go. Eagles, Ravens. I mean, that's Lamar Jackson. That's a Derrick Henry. You got Saquon. They got Derrick Henry. Let's go. But you got to be caller 67 at 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Call number 6 to 7. You are in for the Eagles draft party at Top Golf at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique. Those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Broadlee's, your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907 or visit broadlees.net. Manhattan Bagel. Looking for a quick snack or a full meal? Easy to use menu, customize how you'd like. Place your order and sit back. ManhattanBagel.com has you covered. Start fresh, fast, order online for pickup and delivery. Clean Lines Painting. For a quality job, remember the name, CleanLinesPaint.com. And Kindle Auto Plaza, the area's best selection of Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Wagoneer. Off exit 10 on the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard. Call 609-465-5000 or KindleAutoplaza.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media South Jersey.